Trekking family, how you doing? I'm here with a special friend of ours. This is Jason. He actually taught me how to drive. Poor guy. How'd I do?
Good. Did really good.
But Jason now has his own school, and he would love to tell you guys about it.
So we are a competency-based training facility. The difference between us and the other ones is we actually are training them until they're ready to test. A lot of them will, once they hit the 160 hours, I guess it's time to test, and they start testing them. You know, and all of a sudden they pass their test, they're out there driving and end up hurting somebody. We're going to train them until they're actually showing proficiency, that they actually can drive, that they can actually back this truck, they can do a pre-trip. That's one of the biggest things that we're doing. It's a manual transmission. The reason why fix what wasn't broken. You know, the old school way, we were always teaching them in a manual transmission, and that's what breaks quality drivers. That's what makes quality drivers when they can actually do multiple tasks by shifting a gear and driving down the road and doing it properly. And that we want to make sure that our drivers are going out there and they're able to go out and make a successful living. They don't have to do, you know, go get their Class A, restricted license and then go back and do it again. Why? I'm not here to screw the student. I'm here to make sure that we show proficiency for these guys and get them through and help them have a great career. So, I mean, one of the biggest things, you know, and we're very big about making sure that our students are going through and having to learn how to do some of these harder turns. And that you remember going through, and you know I love going through hard turns and everything else. If I could watch you sit there and cringe, I could go, okay, I did my job.
He was a saint with me, teaching me how to learn manual. But so do you take them out on the streets and?
I do testing. I don't do any training anymore, but I do testing. But my instructors, and that they take him out to same areas that I like, the harder turns, and that we try to stay on a lot of the areas where, you know, more industrial, where more realistic experiences that they're going to have. I try to go into roads, make hard right turns where it's just, you know, there's hardly any room and everything else. Because I want them to know how to do that turn, how to be able to successfully do it without hurting themselves or somebody else.
Right. Now, what about backing? We used to have to do parallel and
We do
straight.
We do straight line backing. We haven't switched over because I know all the states are switching over, but we haven't done the new modernization training, whatever they call it. Anyways, we're still doing straight line backing, offset backing, parallel, 45, 90 degree alley duck. We're still in the old school ways where the state's going to eventually switch over.
Right.
But I still do believe we should still keep teaching. There's parallel out there. Everybody keeps telling me there's not parallel. I don't know about you guys, but I've done parallel out there. There are so many different, it might not be exactly parallel, but there are instances where you're going to have to parallel that truck somehow.
Yeah, I think I've only paralleled twice in the 7 years I've been out there. But, so what do you think are some of the most major problems in the trucking industry right now?
Well, some of the major problems is I believe that as everybody's out there, they're looking at trying to make it more about money and not about the quality of training, about quality of training, not just for the schools, but for the companies out there. I mean, they need to be able to know these guys need to know how to drive a truck. And if the company's not willing to invest in them, how are they supposed to learn how to drive?
Right.
That's one of the biggest things. I know that everybody's been on this big kick right now about the languages and everything else, and that is true. But we also need to make sure that, you know, it's not just the language. We need to make sure that it's qualified drivers that should be out there. The medical thing that needs to be reevaluated because, I mean, they're talking about the sleep apnea stuff. That really irritates me because they tell people that they have it because of their neck sizes. Concentra is really bad about it. I really get irritated with Concentra and MBI and that. They're like, oh yeah, you have sleep apnea because you're big. Well, guess what? So what? They're ugly. That does, I mean, what are we going to do? We need to make sure that that the doctors are being held accountable as well. They need to make sure that what does the FMCSA? You have to have 5 signs of it. But yeah, Cassandra doesn't do it. They do one, so it irritates me a little bit. So I'm sorry I went a little tangent on that one there, but
That's all right.
but making sure. I think the biggest thing is just getting qualified drivers out there, so that way they can be out there driving. They need to all know how to manual. That's what's wrong with this industry, and bringing back a lot of the old school training. Bringing back that's everything to me.
Right, but we also need drivers